Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's Live at 9:45. I have a special episode for you this week because I am interviewing Matt Kett of the Scale Builders Guild for round number 2. This is the second week of the second round of interviews for people, and so I really enjoyed last week's episode where I interviewed Eddie Goodridge for the second time. It was nice to dig a little deeper, ask some more specific questions to the guest, and so I hope you guys like that format as well. But anyway, let's get back to Matt. So Matt is one of the guys behind running the Scale Builders Guild. He builds some crazy, cool, very intricate and unique scale trucks, and he is a video editing machine. He has just been cranking out content all over his YouTube channel, which is in the description below, as well as links to any of the social media that is attached to Matt and the Scale Builders Guild, my social media, and so on and so forth. So if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that alert bell so you get notified every time we go live and do an interview. Without further ado, I'm going to work at bringing Matt over here and get this thing fired up and ready. And so we're going to bring him over right now. Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing tonight, Adam?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm excellent, thanks. It's another nice evening here at home. The weather is turning into spring, which I'm really excited about because that means I get to go outside again.
Right on. Did you get a cold snap today, though? Like, I don't know where you're at in Canada compared to me, like, geographically. But, so we had, like, some 60-degree days, and then today it was, like, the temperatures, like, started nosediving throughout the day.
Yeah, no, we had it pretty mild today. I think it's I'm not too far from where you are, 5 or 6 hours, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So all right, let's get this thing fired up. I see a bunch of people in here, and so first off, I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. I genuinely appreciate it. Forgive me as I scroll up and down comments and things if you watch what's going on. I really need to take a picture, and I probably will in this episode. So if you ever see me like with my cell phone up, I just want to show you guys what happens on this screen. There are 2 of them, and there's a lot going on. But anyway, let's fire this up with if people don't know much about you, Matt, like, can you tell them about yourself? Give them a little info as to your background, so on and so forth. And even if they didn't catch last interview, like, they can go into the playlist for last season and watch the first go round and get some of that, like, introductory into how you got into the hobby stuff, but a little refresher on what's going on there.
Sure. Well, like Adam said, I'm a video editing machine, and that's because that's my actual day job. So I work in advertising. I mostly cut television commercials. I've done music videos, all kinds of things. Anything that has film or video in it, I can probably cut it. I've been doing that for about almost 20 years, which is pretty frightening to think about because that means I'm old. But I live in Toronto, Canada, and married, have 3 cats, and love to play with tiny trucks. That's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Right on. I mean, I totally get it. So how long have you been in the hobby? I know that's a question I asked last time, but I mean, I think we can add 1 year to that. But additionally, there's people who haven't kind of caught on from before. So.
Right, sure. I think it's probably, I've been taking it seriously for about, I guess it's about a decade now.
Okay.
Does that sound right? I think that sounds about right. Yeah, that would be around 2009, maybe 11 years or so. I needed something because I work in front of a computer all day long. I needed something tangible that I could, build with my hands and have a hobby outside of work. And
right.
I thought that this was really kind of the perfect kind of storm because I used to be into model trains. I loved scratch building elements for that when I was a kid. I never had cash to do any of that. So, this was perfect. I have the cash, but of course now I don't have all the time. So it's sort of a very delicate balance between
right.
Work life and all of the hobby. But yeah, give or take about 10 or 11 years that I've been taking it as seriously as I take it now.
Right on, man. So I'm gonna pause for 1 second and pose that question to all these guys who are in here watching, whether you're watching live right now or you're picking this up later after the fact. How long have you been in the hobby? And by that I mean like consistently like doing stuff inside of the RC hobby. Doesn't have to just be crawling. So Matt, back to you. Let's talk a little bit about that hat that you've got going on there, and then in that nice logo placement in the background of the
Yeah,
SPG. So let's
yeah.
talk a little bit about the Scale Builders Guild. You and Richard are running the Scale Builders Guild. Can you share a little bit about what that is? Maybe give some in-depth information talking about it with viewers who maybe aren't really big on forums or
Sure.
aren't really into following what's going on with Scale Builders Guild. Sales pitch them, get them over there to check out all that
Yeah.
awesome content.
Sure, absolutely. So the Scale Builders Guild is a web forum that was originally started by someone you've also interviewed, Kevin Jowett. Myself, I took it over, gosh, probably close to 7 or 8 years ago. Maybe not that long. The years are kind of melding into each other. But it is a web forum that's dedicated solely to scratch built and heavily modified scale trucks. And the idea, scale is in the name, but it really is sort of the whole crux of the forum, and it really is all about tiny trucks in sort of a broad sense. We've got a lot of different sub forums that you can join in with. It's really a great place for discussion. It's a really great place to learn about the hobby. It's a really great place to show off if you're into that sort of thing. There's tons of photo threads, video threads, anything and everything that has to do with the hobby. We've got a sub forum for it.
Right. And so when I interviewed Kevin, I had kind of mentioned this piece that I've always felt like the Scale Builders Guild, sometimes forums get a little bit like, not necessarily clicky, but like a little bit of the back and forth banter going on. And I've noticed that over on Scale Builders Guild, excuse me, you don't see a ton of that happening. You see a lot. It's very supportive environment. Are you guys intentionally curating that to kind of make that happen? Like, how much work goes into the facilitating of that specific?
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that. I always thought that we had a pretty friendly and open community, one that's really dedicated to helping and encouraging and sharing. And what's great about that is that it kind of just breeds itself. You know, you don't really have to work very hard when everyone's kind of the same frame of mind and just want to share and just want to be a part of the community. We don't have a lot of trouble from a like an admin standpoint. Richard and I don't have to do very much, and from a moderator standpoint, there isn't a lot going on that we really need to worry about. The membership as a whole just kind of does a really good job of policing itself. And to be fair, we don't really need to do very much. It's a really great community in that regard.
That's awesome. And I mean, I've noticed that, and
Yeah.
I used to spend more time over there. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I spent more time there. So it kind of ties into my next question of, with all of the social media platforms that you guys are operating, because you are like,
Yep.
there's a Scale Builders Guild Instagram, there's a Scale Builders Guild Facebook page, the YouTube channel, you have the forums. What do you think are some of the biggest benefits of accessing the content of these builders through the forum specifically?
Right. Well, the number one benefit to a forum over something like, say, Facebook is that it's threaded and it's chronological. So you can go into someone's individual build thread and see exactly where they started from and where they ended up to and how they got from point A to point B. It's a really, as provided, of course, that the creator of that content is doing a good job of actually documenting everything.
Right.
But that's the core benefit, is that you can see sort of in real time how the truck was actually built, and you can actually pick up a lot from watching a build thread and participating in it, because you get to ask specific questions based on that post.
Right.
It's a lot easier than Facebook. Facebook just kind of, plop, here's my truck. There's no history to it. There's no real way to ask good questions and get great comments back. And oftentimes I find that things are just so muddled that, it's great for looking at one picture or watching a video. But beyond that, I don't think I've ever learned anything specific from Facebook that would have been more helpful than on the forum.
Right. I get that. And so, kind of an offshoot of that question is, with all of the stuff you're putting out over on YouTube now, do you think that kind of goes hand in hand? Like, where do you see YouTube versus the, because I feel like there are some people like Wes, for example, Wes Braswell of Wes Made. And so, I mean, you can check out his stuff over on YouTube. Wes is spending a lot of time like documenting and showing the build process, which is what happens on the forums. Yeah,
I think it's Wes is an interesting case because he is a vendor as well.
Yeah.
So he's got a vested interest in formatting it however it's going to work for his viewers.
Right.
Which is fantastic. And, part of the job of what I do, or what Richard does, or what we do in general with all of the social media, is to create a funnel. We want everything from all of these sources, whether it be Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or we don't use Twitter.
Right.
I guess that's it. That's the three kind of main sources. Everything filters back to the forum. The idea is to get people to traffic into the forum so they can see how everything goes together. There's always a link in, whether it's in the bio on Instagram or if it's, on the description in YouTube. There's always a way to get back to the forum. And my goal is to push people to the forum. And it especially works well on Facebook because I can tease a build, I can show a few photos, and then I get all the people coming back to the forum to see how that truck was put together.
Right, which is some of the posts that I love the most coming out from you guys, is that you'll post like some of like, I'm guessing you're strategically going through, like, it's not just whatever was in the series. You're picking like a couple of pieces and then like the final shot. And then when you go back through, like that's where the learning takes place. And so with a lot of interviews I've asked, like social media, YouTube, forums, all of that stuff, it's nice to see you guys pushing kind of back toward that. Not necessarily pushing, but guiding, I guess would be the right word.
Guiding. Yeah, it's more like I like to say that I'm a curator of all the stuff that is on the Scale Builders Guild. I'm able to kind of digest it all and give you kind of a best of, so you can come back and see everything. All you need, it's really funny, all you need is a taste, and then you're kind of hooked. Trust me. That will work for me.
No, dude, I totally get it. It is exactly like that. And I spent so much time on forums for quite some time. But at this particular peak in what I'm doing, I haven't been. I need to get back to that. I feel like stuff is progressing around me and I'm not learning about it because I'm not doing any of that reading.
You can imagine the predicament I'm in. I'm on all this social media.
Right.
It's like, I actually have gotten it down to a bit of a science, though. I try to schedule as much of it as I can, so I'm not constantly checking all day long.
Right. Yes, I have them all, and it's work. It's like a lot of time investment.
Yeah, it's a second full-time job.
Absolutely. So for my next question, I really am curious if you're seeing, so I'm seeing a growth in the hobby as a whole. A significant growth, actually. And so I'm curious to see if you're seeing a growth in the forum side of things as well. Like, do the numbers, if you pay attention, like, are they mirroring the growth of the hobby? Is the forum piece growing faster? Is it growing slower? What kind of info do you have on that?
Well, I'm not going to share analytics.
Well, yeah.
I will say 100%. The growth in the hobby as a whole is directly reflecting in the growth of the forum.
Gotcha.
We've had a lot of really great years, but I can track data and I know where the numbers are, and we're seeing significant increases. So whether it's just a fluke, I don't think so. I think there's really something to it, and I think that we're seeing a renaissance for this hobby again, and I'm really happy that we're a part of it, and we're helping kind of stimulate some growth. If that's even the case, I don't know if I can take any credit there, but I am definitely helping push it forward.
We'll give you some credit. There you go. You can have the credit.
0.01%.
Yes. So the part that everybody tends to like in this show is some of that show and tell stuff, and you've got some gorgeous things sitting behind you, but you also have some amazing builds. I don't know what you're going to show and tell. Let's see one of your favorite builds, and then maybe tell us like the story behind it, and kind of discuss some of the highlights of said build.
All right. Well, let me start with my favorite right now.
All right.
Just grabbing it here. 1 second.
All right.
Here we go. It's my X-Max. I'm kidding. I don't have an X-Max. Richard has an X-Max. What did I show the last time? Did I show off the steam truck the last time?
Can I tell you that I don't think the steam truck was built last time. I think last time we talked, it wasn't. Last time we talked, I think we talked about the half track, and I think that the steam truck wasn't fully built yet. Okay. I think we maybe talked a little bit about the steam motor itself, but not like you weren't at that place yet.
At that stage.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here it is then.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's really heavy. I'm sorry. It's really heavy and super awkward to hold.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. So this is a replica of Kenny Hawk's Loco Hawk, which is a 6x6 JK. And this one is built and actually runs on Steam, which is pointless. It's pointless, but I had to do it. When I saw the real thing, I was like, oh, yes, I must build you and make sure you actually work on Steam. So the only battery in there powers the steering servo and a couple of like servos to handle throttle of like the actual Steam. But It works on a combination of butane and propane. And it's not really super easy. Well, I can probably take the top off without too much trouble here. And I can show you the inner workings of it.
I think having seen it in person and having talked to you about it at East Coast last year, it's definitely worth the taking the top off and seeing the inner workings. As someone who's like into all of that and nerding out on like those cool details, that steam motor is just, it's cool. Like there's no way to put it other than that.
So real quick, there was a lot of scratch building involved. Like I started with a New Bright JK Unlimited, but it got hacked up a fair bit. Mm-hmm. The hood or the roof is new. The grill is a custom piece by James Knight, who was very, very kind to do that for me. It was very nice of him. It has a full interior, of course, and mimics the real thing. And then this whole back section is all scratch-built styrene. And some viewers are probably thinking to themselves, well, that's dumb. Styrene's going to melt. And it does. And it has a little bit. You can sort of see some of the meltiness there. But it is lined with some Nomex and some foam-backed aluminum tape. So it does a pretty good job of dissipating all the heat.
Right.
So that's the body.
So before you put that down, all those rivets on there.
How did that?
So are they real rivets? Are they styrene dots? What's up with those?
They're real rivets. It can't show you, like it's hard to see probably, but
like anything with cameras. Good times.
Yeah. It's sort of difficult to see, but they're all hand-driven rivets. And normally I would use a rivet gun, but I couldn't get them into some of the locations, so I just drilled each one individually and then kind of friction fitted in and then shoe glued them all in place.
Yeah.
Kill me. Never doing that again. There's like 300 plus. This is one other thing. This is all. These are actual steam pipes. Like they're actually, you can use them in Garden Railway. They're fully functional steam pipes, which is
Yeah,
pretty neat.
that is cool.
Yeah. Okay. So now the technical part of it, it's a little easier to hold on to now. This is a Regner compact. It's called, and it's like a 300 milliliter boiler,
Okay.
and it runs on butane and propane, and it goes into that cylinder on the back there. And there's all kinds of gauges and stuff, and the servos are there to actuate flow of steam. And then up here, oops, let me turn this around.
Oh yeah.
Up here, this is the actual like piston assembly where steam gets fed into here and moves these two pistons back and forth, which turns this flywheel, which then goes to the front of the truck where I've got a GCM motor plate mounted to an axial transmission, and then that goes out to a transfer case and powers all six wheels.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you don't you don't really know why you did it, but you're really happy you did.
Yeah.
And it works. Like it runs. You've seen it run.
I have, and it's tremendous, man. It's so cool because it's so different. So to see the steam and to hear it and just everything about it is very unique to what goes on in our hobby. And I think that's why I'm infatuated with that build and the track build.
Well, thanks.
Always. So
I've actually, that's sort of, I don't know where I decided to do or why I decided to do stuff like this, but I always want to challenge myself to do something that really hasn't been done quite like this. So
right.
Every year I'm trying to take on something that's a little bit different, and I've got something that is kind of brewing right now. I'm not going to spoil it for later, but it's kind of along the lines of why are you what are you doing that for? Why? And so I think it'll be kind of fun.
Awesome. So, probably a really hard question to answer, and I'm pretty sure I asked this question last year, but I'm always curious with someone like yourself who's been involved in the hobby for 10 years. I know you're pumping out a bunch of different trucks over the last like year that I've talked to you. How many trucks would you say you have built up until this point?
Oh man. Well, like scratch built goofball builds like this, that list is short.
Right.
There's only really like 3 crazy ones. But like the thing is, there's so much turnover. I don't have everything that I had a year ago. So like the Pinsgauer that I built just recently, that's already shipped. That's in a box and been shipped off to somebody else. They'll enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. This year alone, 5 so far. 5. Oh boy, that's disappointing.
No, man, five's more than me in a year. I can't lie. Like,
just saying, that's like it's a lot of time. And just thinking about how much time goes into each one.
Well, yeah. So then let's talk about that briefly on a complete sidebar. Like, you're doing all of these like intricate, like high level builds. I know what kind of time gets invested in them. I'm very aware of that.
Yeah.
Then you're doing video shooting and editing, which again, I'm very well aware of what goes into that. Like, do you sleep? Are you okay? Do we need to do something?
Yeah, well, it's somehow I managed to get it all done. I have a very understanding wife who knows what goes into this, but she also understands that it's not just a hobby. There's more to it than that. So she's very supportive of that, and I appreciate that very much. But you know what it is? It's time management. I make a lot of lists, and I prioritize stuff, and it all just kind of happens to get done. What's great about this year for me, and this is just a quick sidebar, I just kind of decided I wasn't going to do any traveling, and I wasn't going to do any competing.
Right.
That frees up so much time because the trucks you build to compete with are totally different from the builds that I normally do. Like that 4Runner 5th gen there, that's not a comp truck. I
No.
wouldn't like I once it's built and finished, it's going to get some nice photos taken of it, and I'll drive it around and class zero it maybe, but it certainly won't hit rocks,
Right,
and I
right.
mean it wouldn't in real life anyway. So it's really nice to be able to do the things that I've been kind of pining over. That's the like it's almost a renaissance for me because I'm enjoying the hobby so much more again because I'm building stuff that I actually truly desperately wanted to build.
Right, right. I get that. Like, the finding time to do the build stuff for me is hard. Anyway, finding
Yeah.
time to do any of it for me is
Oh,
hard. So I
yeah.
don't know.
Never
Um,
mind. Like, I have a real job too, and that that pays the bills and allows me to have time and money to build these things. So
right,
it's like it's all a delicate balancing act.
right on, right on. So I have sidebar question for you from Derek Johnston. It says, "Wait, dot dot dot. Are you going to East Coast again in August?"
Oh, I'm not. Unfortunately, I really there's a lot of stuff that I'm missing this year. K I'm missing. Axial Fest I'm missing. Um, East Coast I'm missing, and it hurts me a little bit inside to know that I won't be going to those events because I do have so much fun, and there's so many great people that I get to see at those things. And there's nothing. I think there's nothing greater than getting together with 100 or 200 or 300 people, whatever it is, and nerding out and driving trucks and talking about trucks and
Absolutely.
dog. Like it's really nice. I really like East Coast, and it's going to be a bummer to not go.
Yeah, man. I definitely enjoyed chatting with you last year and the year before. And East Coast is one of my favorite events for sure. There's something about just going and hanging out in the campground and just being around like-minded people who do this. Uh, not your friends that you have like in your hometown who are like, wait, what? You play with toy trucks?
Yeah.
But like people who are invested and interested, driven to do what we're doing. And if you don't go to events, like now I'm talking to people who are watching, if you don't go to events, go to events. Don't necessarily go to try to win, don't necessarily go to compete. Like go to spend time with people who are as invested in this as you are, because that's more and more that I go now, that's what I spend my time doing. I don't necessarily worry about like doing my best competition wise.
If I was going to win, I would have quit a long time ago.
Fair enough.
I've never even gotten close. Well,
I
that's
mean,
not. I came in seventh in class one at East Coast last year, and that was by far and away my best performance.
there you
So
go.
yeah, but not the goal. The goal is to see my friends and to hang out and to goof off and just and share this passion that we have because it's a passion.
Right on. So there's my chat feed is slowed down a little bit. So guys in the chat, I have a question for you. When you go to events, what is your favorite part of the event? Are you there to win? Are you there to hang out? Are you there to break stuff? Like, why are you there? What are you doing when you go to an event? Um, so back to you, Matt. I think a lot of people recognize you from the YouTube stuff. Your channel does very well. The videos you put out are awesome. And there's lots of great content. So with that, can you discuss a little bit about your channel, which can be found in the video description below, and some of the types of content people could find there if they aren't already subscribers or aren't already fans of your content?
Yeah, I do a lot of reviews of cat videos, and I spend a lot of time squeezing tires. Um, that's about it, really. Somehow it's caught on. No, it's sort of a catch-all for the hobby. I work with a lot of really nice vendors and some people who send me stuff, which is really nice. But it's mostly reviews of kits and RTRs that come out. Um, there's a lot of how-tos as I've been progressing with the new series of What's on the Bench. I think that's kind of a nice little program that people seem to be enjoying, that kind of details a few of the trucks that I have kind of in process or in progress. What else do we? Well, there's running videos. When the weather is nice, I like to go outside and actually drive these trucks and film them at the same time. Those get a lot of attention as well. But it seems to be the on-camera stuff. The two most successful things that I've been doing lately are the budget builds with Josh over at Harley Designs,
right,
and Monthly Mayhem, which is a very fun series, I have to say. Frustrating, but it's really fun to share in this sort of rivalry that Josh and I have developed over the years with that series. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, and it's awesome to watch you guys go back and forth. The video intros, like, that's why people are showing up, man. They're amazing. Do not stop.
I can't stop. He is such an easy target. I have to say that out loud. He really is. I think he's a great guy. I love him to death. But he puts a target on his back so many times. Great. He gets razzed all the time at the office. And the best thing is that all the guys at VP bought Harley Resigns shirts. So, I've seen some great video of him reacting to them wearing the shirts. It's so great.
That's awesome. And it's great that you guys can go back and forth and be lighthearted and have fun with it. And I think that that's why the two of you mixing the video content back and forth works so well. So as a sidebar real quick, thank you for throwing the truck off the roof. So happy. I was so happy with that piece at the end there. Oh, so good.
That was, to be fair, we've only done it twice, but that challenge was the most frustrating challenge for me because the weather was terrible. I literally couldn't go outside. It was so cold and windy, like nothing was working. Everything was a giant failure. And thankfully, Josh experienced 99% of the same failures. So what ended up happening, and we realized this, close to the end of the challenge, was we made the parameters and the rules way too narrow, and it was never going to work. So throwing it off the roof was sort of my last ditch effort. And I really kind of wish that Josh tried a little bit harder on his last one, because one drive off the roof of that hobby shop was not enough. It didn't even ramp right. So anyway, it was a lot of fun though. And we do have another Monthly Mayhem starting very soon. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we haven't announced it yet, but I'm just going into the rules here because we have a couple of shared documents that we go back and forth on. April 10th is going to be the intro. So
getting soon.
It's coming real soon. Oh my God, it is. I got a lot to do to get ready for that. So better get on that. But it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be really exciting. And the culmination of all of those weeks will be at By the Fire, which I am actually, I lied. I am going to one event this year, but it's one I've never been to. And the guys from Proline were happy enough to say, we'll cover your ticket for the entry into the event. So, I said, why not? Let's spend some money on a plane ticket and we'll get down there.
Right. So like the end is going to be you guys kind of coming together and being able to film it together.
Yeah. There's going to be a whole series of challenges that have to take place at the event where both of the challenge vehicles will be together at the same time. So it seemed like a good opportunity.
That is, and that's a great opportunity. It's another cool like twist to what's going on there. So we just talked a lot about Monthly Mayhem, but you didn't state exactly what it is. For people who are not necessarily like up on that, what exactly is it? Like, we're kind of doing it a little backwards because got off on that like let's talk about it thing, but maybe let's inform some people who might not know.
Sure. Monthly Mayhem is a timed series of videos that Josh and I do where we challenge each other to do something completely out of our wheelhouse and take something that exists and turn it into something else. And it's all RC and scale as much as it can be kind of related. But RC is definitely the focus. The first series that we did was taking the axial deadbolt and making it go as fast as possible. And in the final weeks, I got up to 55.3 miles per hour with a deadbolt, and Josh hit 60. I think he hit 63 at the end of it.
I genuinely can't remember, but it was fast.
So fast. It's spectacularly scary when you see that thing going that fast, because the wheelbase is so narrow that any steering input and any over throttle just sends it into a spin. It was so frightening. I had to find a very large area to do it in where there weren't a lot of people, because it's deadly at that speed. But very fun, very out of the box, and that's the challenge, is coming up with ideas that you would never normally think of, and that's why Monthly Mayhem works so well. The second one, we had to take the associated Reflex DB10, which is basically a short course chassis, and make it not fly, but get as much hang time as possible. So launching it off a ramp to see how long it would stay in the air, and we have very tight rules on that. Didn't work out quite the way either of us intended. And like you have these ideas in your head, and you're sort of theorizing, because it's never really been done, and it's not on the internet. So
right.
You're like, well, okay, if I put a wing on it, and I've seen some videos on planes that just kind of hover above the ground. That'll probably work. But none of these work. It's a total nightmare. So it's very frustrating, but it's also very rewarding to watch us fail at stuff. So there's always carnage, and that's why there's the mayhem element as well.
Absolutely. Mayhem is a perfect word for it, for sure. So with the YouTube channel comes a whole host of different challenges than a forum or a Facebook page. What
Sure.
do you find to be the most difficult part of maintaining and operating the
regularity is probably the largest challenge for me, because this is not, I don't treat this as a job.
Right.
It's a hobby. So finding the time to get videos up on a regular basis is the biggest challenge for me. Not the filming or the editing, that comes fairly naturally, and I've been doing it for long enough that it kind of got it down to a science. But finding the actual time to sit down and do the thing that needs to be done in order to get it filmed, that's the challenge. And then also releasing content on a regular schedule. People love schedules, and they love to know that there's going to be a video, on Wednesday, uploaded at midnight, so they have something to look forward to for that day. That's
Right.
the big challenge. And especially as an amateur who doesn't take this as job, there's never enough time. And if there was, there'd be new videos every 4 days or every 3 days or every 2 days. Whatever I could manage, I'd always be putting up new stuff, because I want to share this with people, and I want people to understand that this is fun. So long and the short of it, it's the scheduling and building the time and making sure there's a regular kind of series of events. That's the hardest part.
Right, which, I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. We spoke about that when I was testing with you. I was like, dude, I just posted about this truck build, like this build off thing this build thing I want to do. I posted a video, like I shot it. I was like, I should wait, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to shoot the next one right away. And I was like, nope, got to post it now. Like, I just got to do it. I have to. And I haven't been able to do the next one right away. It's all sitting behind me on this shelf right here. And I just sick, and then I haven't had any time. Like, I agree with you. I think that's one of the hardest things. So for me, the only regular thing on my YouTube, sorry everybody subscribed, is this. It happens every week. It's set in stone that it's happening every week. And so that adds some regularity to my YouTube channel, but the rest of it I just feel is like bonus content. So enjoy away as you get it.
I will say that subscribing just for this every week is well worth it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So going on to my next question, and there's a lot of people who are trying to either provide solid like social media coverage of their trucks, or run their own YouTube channels and so on and so forth. Your videos look polished and well put together, and you talked a little bit in one of your most recent ones about some gear. What like specific gear are you using currently? Like maybe just a quick rundown, like what camera you're using, accessories, editing software. I mean, whatever you want to kind of give people info.
I use this is my main camera. It's a Sony A6500, and I've got a series of lenses that I use. Wide, medium, portraiture.
Hmm.
Uh, um, but it's the camera that gets used in the studio all the time, and it's also the camera that gets used in most of the running videos. I also have an Osmo, like on a one of those gimbal style cameras,
Yeah.
and I've also got a gimbal for that camera as well. But that's pretty much it. I have a GoPro that gets used every once in a while as well. Um, I even use my phone. A lot of times, the iPhone is perfectly acceptable. It's got good stabilization, does slow motion, and shoots at. I think it shoots at 4K now. Some of the cameras on some of the new phones. So I mean, you don't really need a ton of stuff, and I wouldn't even recommend jumping out and buying all of these things because it takes a long time to get up to speed on how to use them all.
Right.
But sometimes, and I learned this a long time ago, is when something a teacher said to me back in college. The best tool is the one you have with you. So, you know, you can tell a story with anything, and it doesn't need to be the top of the line gear. Like, you don't need a red camera, you don't need 4K, you don't need those things. If you are looking to tell a story and you just want to put that out there, there are excellent tools that you probably have on you right now. If you're holding a camera phone or a camera phone, yeah, because I'm 40 years old,
So
so
good.
oh, just my camera phone. So, like, just a standard phone has everything you need in it. Most of the Apple phones even have iMovie, so you can cut them right on your phone.
Right. And then there's apps that are either free or cheap. I mean, man, I like Filmic Pro for the phone because then you can edit like all the fancy like frame rates and color
Sure.
textures and all that. And then they even have some video editing apps, and they're under like $30. The
Yeah,
subscription to uh Adobe Premiere Studio is like $30 a month. Like, I mean,
yeah,
it, you can do it all from your phone if you choose to and want to.
yeah.
Not necessary to have all those other things. And are they fun? Those toys.
Oh, yeah, man. I love when I get new camera stuff. Tell me about it. I, I would upgrade, but there's no reason to. I
Right.
love what this camera does, and I'm very familiar with it. And it's small. That's the best part about it. Like, the lens is the biggest part. Everything else uh, fits in the palm of my hand. I can pretty much have this anywhere. The only thing I wish it did that it doesn't do, the screen only flips out,
Yep.
down. It doesn't flip all the way around. The new one, whatever it is, the A7000 or whatever they ended up calling it, uh, it actually flips right around. So that would be a cool feature to have because when you're vlogging and you're talking into the lens, hey, how you doing? It's nice to be able to see your face.
Agreed. Agreed. My camera has the flippy screen, but it doesn't have some of the features that your camera has, so it's kind of like the offshoot. Um, well, so
Right.
I also didn't have any idea what I was doing, so I went very budget friendly in case I wanted to get out from under it.
Yep. You're
Because
like,
it
oh, this
just made
sucks. Yeah,
sense.
terrible this. Right.
Yeah.
Everything comes in time, right? Patience and practice are the two most important things, not just in uh, videography and editing and filmmaking and everything, but it's also the same two principles that work on our scale trucks. You don't run to the store, buy a sheet of styrene, and build a truck like that. It takes
Correct.
time and effort and patience and learning, and you can't skip those steps.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. So there are a bunch of comments in the comment section asking you to turn the valve that's over your right shoulder. I'm not sure what it does, but maybe we
I,
don't want
you
that.
know
I don't
what?
know.
I've lived here for 9 years. I don't know what it does.
Perfect. Perfect.
So I'm gonna. I'll leave the mystery.
All right,
We'll
all
just
right. We're not
turn.
turning the valve.
No, don't turn the valve. I actually, you know what? That gives me a great idea. I'm gonna write it down because I don't want to forget it.
Awesome. Awesome. So do you have any advice for people who are starting out and like aspiring YouTubers or shooting for some RC related content? I mean, I know that you're in the like Scale RC photography group that I kind of started. For anybody who's interested, like look that up on Facebook. The goal is for people who have been doing it for a while to kind of disperse information, but also for you guys to ask questions, feel comfortable posting your stuff, and in the look of like taking a good picture to make it look real. But
Right.
as a whole, like, you have any advice for making like kind of the whole picture?
Yeah, absolutely. I think um, the most important thing is to be authentic and to be yourself. Don't try to don't try to be somebody you're not. Like if you're watching my videos, I'm the same goofball in those videos that I am now.
Yeah.
Like there's no differentiation. That's who I am, and I think that's why it works for me because I don't have to put on a mask when I start filming. It's just like, welcome to Scale Builders Guild. That's just who I am. So
Right, and it's also for people who don't know, that's you in real life too. Like, I've met you, I've talked to you, like we've chatted it up. That's
right,
just who you are. You're just
right,
showing who you are.
capital city goofball. Uh, and with that authenticity, also make sure that the content you're delivering is authentic as well. Nobody likes clickbait, and I really like that's the one thing I think YouTube kind of has bred over the years is that you won't believe what happened next, and click on this, and they always have the screen grab where they're like the thing you missed in Marvel's Avengers, and then they have like a circle around some blurry thing in the background, and you're like, well, what the heck did I miss? And then you click on it, and there's no new information.
Right.
So be authentic, be honest in your content, and most importantly, have fun. Like it's if you're doing this to get rich, and if you're doing this to be famous, stop right now because that's should never be your goal. If that happens, that's cool. That's really neat. Like if you want to get into this to quit your job, I don't know, maybe find something else because I think we've all missed that boat. That's long gone. There are only
Well, with that said, like interview's over. We'll just talk later. No, I'm just joking. Um no, and I agree with you. There, like, to even get monetized on YouTube, make like a cent long process. I'm not even anywhere near that.
no.
But just in general, like even at your level, I'm sure you're not like raking in the big bucks, and your subscription count is far higher than mine.
It's a
So like,
decent level, but I'm not like YouTube's not sending me the plaque with the gold button in it. Like
no, no.
we're in such a niche hobby that I'm just happy that people watch. To be totally honest, that just really chuffs my Gulliver, I have to say. But I don't know. Like there was a time when this was probably a lucrative business and you could actually do really well. But my goal isn't for that. It's just to share the hobby and to show off trucks and to have a fun time. And
Right.
if your authenticity shows, I think people are gravitating towards that, and that's what they want to see.
I tend to agree with you as well. I tend to see that as a whole across the platform. Like, I watch lots of camera stuff. I watch lots of
Right.
stuff that's not just RC related, and the people who are showing themselves are typically doing much better than the that's
Right, absolutely. I mean, and it's hard to tell because you don't know these people in real life, so you don't know if that's who they are or not. Um,
right.
but you can sort of tell when it's forced or when it's sponsored. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's I'm pretty upfront. If somebody sends me something, I'm the first to mention it because I just want to make sure that everyone knows above board I didn't pay for it or I got a discount on it or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'm
Right.
getting way off topic here, but
It's
the,
okay.
the short of it, authenticity works, and that's my mantra.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm reading like comments, and one of them says Gulliver fully chuffed. Just reading comments.
I love saying that. It's like one of my favorite things because people don't know what it means. People think it's gross, but I don't think it is. I think it's just like it hits you right in the feels. It's
Ah,
basically what it means.
gotcha. Um, Okay, so you make bunches of different kinds of content. You said it's kind of like your catch-all for your RC related content for your. What is your favorite type of video to make? With making all of those different ones, there's probably one you prefer over the others.
Yeah, as much on-camera stuff as there is, I much prefer just a great driving video, like a good 4.5 minute, nicely documented outdoor video with a truck or two or six or whatever it is, just driving around. Those are my favorite. I actually really like filming like events. Like some of my RC four-wheel drive East Coast Scale Challenge videos are some of my more popular videos because you get to see a nice variety of both trucks, terrain, and feet.
Right, right. Lots of feet. Very scale
Very
Bigfoots
scale
everywhere.
accurate feet.
Scale Bigfoots everywhere. Um,
Bigfoot Guild.
okay, so let's do another show and tell. Let's talk about something else that you've got going on. And discuss like the story around it, the backstory, all of that jazz.
You want to see like a work in progress, maybe?
I want to see whatever you want to show the world.
Whoa.
Okay, I want to see whatever truck you want to show the world.
Okay.
Let's go there. Let's keep it a little safer.
All right. Let's take a look at this. I've been tooling with 3D printing a lot lately, and I used to probably be that guy that would say 3D printing is cheating, but I don't say that anymore because there's things you can do with 3D printing that I could never do in scratch building. So, like for example, oh, that's really bright.
It's very, very white.
There we go. That's better. This is a JL, like a new Jeep Wrangler Rubicon that I've started printing. And there's only one other like it, as far as I know, that's out there right now. But it's taken a long time just to get to this part. I still have to print out a lot more of it, and then there's a lot of modifying I've got to do to make it fit on a chassis and everything. But that's something that I'm kind of proud of. I didn't design it, of course. Like I don't have that kind of skill at CAD or design or anything, but it is something that I've had to do a lot of modifying to get to that point. So that's going to be a fun one for sure. It's a long-term project, but it's going to be something that I'm documenting on YouTube too.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it. I watch tons and tons of content, so.
I think we all do. Like I spend so much time on YouTube watching other people's videos.
Right.
And then there's this Forerunner here, which is pretty fun. It's almost done. I'm not going to do an interior for this one. I know I'm being lazy, but it's taken so much effort to get this truck to this point.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to get it outside. This used to be one of those JED Models Hero trucks.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually chopped it, but I wanted it to be an accurate Forerunner, so it's got independent front, and it should be a linked back. It's leafed, so points off for that too. But pardon my noob, did all the assembly and then sanding for me, again because I'm lazy. And I've done all the finishing so far. It's actually, like there's a ton of effort that goes into this, and this is real automotive paint. So this is the Inferno Red, and swapped a 22R in there because I wanted to reduce the horsepower further. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this so far. It's been a long time getting to this stage, and I'm happy to be almost done it.
Yeah, yeah. I bet. I know that's the part that's the worst for me though, because at that stage, usually I'm like, all right, well, I'm almost done, and now we're gonna put this on, drive it, like just go. So that waiting till like the final peak is usually one of the most tough things for me. I don't know about you.
I usually stall like this has probably sat like that for almost a week now because I haven't done anything, because I'm like, well, if I put the windows in, then we're pretty much done. and it's too crappy outside to take it outside yet. So let's hold off. Let's do something else with that.
Right. Makes sense. So my next question kind of goes into the like, after building the half track and the steam truck and some of the other like more intricate like outside of the box builds, do you feel like every time you do a build like you have to go that far outside of the box, or can you just like enjoy something simple that looks good?
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer. Yes and no. I do feel like on project builds where I'm spending a lot of time and a lot of months. Like the steam truck took over a year.
Yeah.
The half track took about the same. The scratch build FJ60 took about a year. Like for those kind of halo builds, I don't mind spending a whole year on them and kind of trying to one up myself. And while I'm not technically one upping myself in the actual construction, the next kind of big truck in my mind, it is a challenge for sure.
Right.
More from a technical standpoint than an actual building standpoint. But yeah, every once in a while, I'm like, hey, let's just slap a Lexan body on a truck and go outside and goof around. I think that's part of the joy of the variety of this hobby, is that we can go super scale, and we can also go and have fun with like a regular truck. You don't have to do a lot to it. Like I've got a Gen 8 over here that I'm changing the paint on, but other than that, it's stock, and that thing is oodles of fun in that format.
Yeah.
You don't always have to go crazy and do weird stuff.
Yeah, I like that answer. So, one of the things that I noticed over the last years with so I have like that club that I'm running at the high school. I have these donated Gen 7s, and it's really cool to take out like this very, very stock bare bones. Like there are no upgrades on most of these trucks. Like we have some little stuff, we have some little scale trinkets and so on and so forth, but it's cool to go out and like just have fun with the kids driving something that like you pulled out of a box.
It's really nice to be able to drive and not worry about rolling it.
Right. At all. Not worried at all.
Like, I don't care. Let's kick it back over.
Right.
That's also part of the fun of this hobby, I think.
Yeah. To be able to not worry about drive it like it's super real sometimes, and then drive it like it's a tiny toy truck sometimes.
Right. So, drive it like they would expect you to.
Yes, absolutely. So I know I asked this question before, but I still think it's a very valid question from our last interview. Like, who are your influences currently in the scale crawling segment of the hobby? And if you were going to pick someone to have on the show, who would you pick to have on? I mean, it can be a past guest. It can be someone I haven't seen, someone I've not picked up on yet. Like, what's your suggestion?
Well, you've interviewed a lot of them already. Richard, pardon my noob. Mike Lohman is another big influence for sure. I mean, he's OG. I can't believe I just said OG. He's one of the original gangsters.
Right.
That means. Yeah, he started this hobby a long time before I did. He was doing stuff with TLT axles and whatever you could get your hands on to build scale trucks. So much love and respect to Mike. Who else? Gosh, you've already had Dion Rosser on too, right?
Yes.
Oh man. And the GCM guys, you've had them on too?
I have had them on. I am going to, though. I will state this one publicly. They're getting another invite. I just need to send it to them. I was trying to get things up and running for this year before bringing a bunch of people back. They're definitely on my list. I love talking to Chris and Dana. I've talked to them at multiple events. They always are building cool stuff, always pushing the hobby in a good direction. So they have an open invite and will continue to have an open invite. I just need to shoot them a message anyway. So
okay, yeah, I think that all those people are great. There's so many really great influences on my building and my hobby. Jeremy Fish. Have you talked to him? Deluxe?
I haven't. That was just suggested a couple episodes ago, and I need to look into shoot him a message. I'm in some groups with him. I've talked to him before, but not gotten him lined up for an interview.
He'd be good because he's Australian, mate.
Awesome.
All of his trucks are built upside down.
There, and so all of yours are built upside down to his.
Yeah, correct. That's right. You know your geography.
I do. I'm a teacher. I mean, geography.
Oh, all right. Good for you.
Yeah. I'm not a geography teacher, by the way.
Holding our youth, hopefully. There's so many people, man. It's honestly really hard for me to kind of think of it. Let me go through. I could go through the forum and pick out some people that I think would be great. What about Chris Middleton? Have you talked to him, Wrencher?
I talked to him at one point. I probably dropped the ball on continuing my communication. I did that a couple times over the last year. I got busy and then forgot I sent messages and stuff. I'll send him another message. He's been brought up multiple times, for sure.
You should also consider, and I know this is my interview, but you should also consider some of the people within the business, like some of the guys from like Proline, or have you done James Knight? Has he been on the show?
Yes, I did James.
Okay.
I enjoyed that one thoroughly, by the way. I didn't know him super well, so through the interview, super cool dude.
Yeah, he's really great. We chat a lot about a lot of stuff, so he'd be good. What about like some of the old Axial guys, like Rodney, or maybe a designer from someone within, or someone at the Horizon camp, just to kind of get some more of a vendor side of things, maybe.
Yeah, I had done a couple of them throughout the year, but I'm always looking into more of that, and I think that's an area that maybe requires a little deeper research on my end. Make sure I'm contacting the right people, setting myself in the right direction. So I think that's maybe why that hasn't happened as quickly. They're not as easily accessible as all of you guys. Like, you guys are posting your builds online and they're just coming across my news feed. I'm going, right. Scroll. That's really cool. Scroll. That's super cool. And I'm picking out names. So, it just.
You've done Scott Lempert?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Oh man! So you've pretty much done the whole the A team of tiny truck guys,
right?
Yeah,
they all can come back. By the way, you guys just send me a message. That's all. That's all there takes.
It's not like you do one once and never do it again.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm coming to realize that. Like, so last week was a re-interview. This week is a re-interview, and I think this interview is probably better than the first time we interviewed. I'm more comfortable with it. I can ask questions that are geared more specific, and I think that it's a little more informative. I'm not sure what the viewers like. Comment, guys. Tell me if you like the new, if you like people you've not ever seen me interview before, or if you like me re-interviewing people. I mean, I don't care. I'm always down to re-interview people. So,
do you like pants?
Do I like pants? I like pants. I wear them every day.
Sorry, 90% of my actual comedy is just saying things from The Simpsons. I don't. No,
it's fair. I haven't watched The Simpsons in a while.
Neither do I, but all up here.
There you go. Steel trap. Once it's in there, then it's
exactly.
So okay. This probably has changed since before. What is your current build out there floating around the internet that like just stops you every time you scroll by?
Oh man, I think that Headquake stuff is still always going to hold a special place in my heart. It was probably one of his videos that really kind of made me take it seriously again.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's not a great answer, because I mean, I think that's probably everybody's sort of
right.
guy. Gosh, what have I? Neil Laisa, his handle on the forum is Bonards, and he finished his Forerunner and did more of an expedition style version. It's actually got a wrap on it. which looks amazing. His stuff always looks tremendously well done. Like I think he's got the benefit of having a few Toyotas in his driveway,
Okay.
so he can just go out there and look at it and then just make that piece like smaller. But he is a tremendously good builder and doesn't get enough attention. I don't think he's done some really great stuff, and I kind of wish, in retrospect, I don't know why I painted mine the same color as his, and now it's never going to look nearly as good as his. His is just so much better, and I honestly, it's like, well, I should just probably throw it away because it's not going to be good enough.
I have a garbage can at my house, so you know.
Okay, I'll FedEx it to you.
Okay, you'll fax it to me. Perfect.
So FedEx me the garbage can, and I'll put it in it, and then I'll light it on fire and send it back to you.
Oh, fire! I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Not above that.
You might get something out of it. It's PLA, so
yeah, something in there will make it good. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So, with as connected in the hobby as you are, all forms of social media, so on and so forth, what trends are you noticing? Scale segment of the hobby that are really like gaining traction and kind of taking off right now?
Portals seem to be a real point of interest for a lot of people, which is, I understand from a performance standpoint why you would want portals, but not every truck has portals, and it kind of bothers me when I don't see something that wouldn't have, like, would never have portals in a million years. Like I don't know. I've seen a lot of stuff lately where portals seem to be like, everyone needs portals. You have to have portals. And if you don't have portals, you're dirt. I don't think that's really fair. You can choose a good line and drive the same line with a truck without portals. So they do look good under a Unimog because Unimogs have portals. So that truck is okay. I don't know. Portals seem to be the trend. Brass is a big trend as well. People, I think weight in the right places is totally fine, and it makes sense for a comp environment. But you don't need it everywhere. Like, if you're putting brass everywhere in the truck, you're negating the point of why it's there.
Right on. I will tell you though, I have a brass roll cage on my truck.
Right, but it's probably
weighs less than most people's steel roll cages. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, of course. Well, brass isn't the heaviest element, is it?
Not the heaviest, but it's heavier than most metals. Not all.
Fair.
Not by any stretch of the imagination. All. I'm not claiming that one, but it's heavier than a lot of them.
I'm not disparaging anybody who sells or manufactures or makes brass parts. Brass in the right places and weight, more importantly, weight in the right places makes total sense. But don't put it everywhere.
I mean, or you can.
Well, do what you want.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a great thing about this hobby. You choose. You do whatever you want. Like, when this is the one thing, and I'm going back in time to when we were talking about YouTube.
Yeah.
The most hated video or the most disliked video on my channel is my TRX4 review, because I was like, I don't get it. Why do you need to have all this extra junk? Like, and that's my personal opinion, but people take it very seriously, and there's a lot of people who don't like it when my opinion is different from theirs. So I get a lot of dislikes on that video because I wasn't a huge fan of it. I'm still not. I'm like, that's a TRX4 Sport RTR. I've got the TRX4 Sport kit in another box over there, and neither of those have any of those gimmicks, and that's just because that's my driving style, and that's what I prefer. Right. So, what I said when I was doing the Blazer unboxing, or a first look that I did last night.
Yeah.
Everyone's allowed to do what you want. If that's what you really like, and that's what you're into, and that's what chuffs your Gulliver, then chuff away, my good man, because that's the beauty of the internet. It's like everyone's allowed to do whatever they want.
Right.
It's not like I'm telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what I don't like.
I think you need a Scale Builders Guild shirt. Chuff away, my good man. Just saying. I think that's it. I'll claim responsibility for that idea. You said it. I'm saying make a shirt.
Chuff away, my good man.
Right.
That's a really good shirt because you can do like a train behind it.
So for people who don't know you and haven't met you, like I met you at East Coast, and
Yep.
you and Richard are just talking, and we're talking, and you're like, oh. Then you said something, and you're like, that's a great idea for a sticker. Write that down. Like you like pulled this note tab out, and you're writing down this sticker idea, and I was like, it's brilliant. I never write down ideas. I just like, okay, that was great, and then I'm gone.
We have a running list of. Let me find it here. I think there's 35 separate options for the next sticker sheet on what the next set of bumper stickers are going to be. So we're already well into because people really love them. They sell out very quickly. So we're working on the next one right now because we don't have any more to sell. So we'll have more of those soon. But there's going to be some good ones in there.
Awesome. And I don't doubt it. Like that's what you guys were doing. Like this, hanging out at the event.
Up with dumb ideas.
I did have a question from a viewer that was back a little bit. I'm trying to scroll up and see it, so forgive me, people who are watching. I believe that it like mirrored the question I asked. I asked for what trends were you noticing gaining traction in the hobby? The other one was like, what ones do you see losing traction in the hobby?
Ooh.
Like go in the opposite direction.
Well, when the Gen 8 came out, with its aggressive price point, there was a lot of chatter about, like the differences in price and what you get for that dollar value and what its performance levels are. And, it's really difficult to do scientific testing on how good a truck is compared to another truck.
Agreed.
There's a lot of conjecture and a lot of subjectivity. And it's really difficult to kind of say, well, brand X is better than brand Y, and here's all the data to back it up. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that you can't formulate an opinion without having any firsthand knowledge.
Right.
So take any review on the internet or any test you see, take it all with a grain of salt, because sometimes people skew these things to make it look like something's better than it isn't, or better value. I don't know. The value to performance equation is really hard to quantify.
Right.
Using a lot of big words.
That's okay. I like big words.
But I think that trying, like, I hope that trend goes away. Value is good. Part quality is better.
Right.
And there's a lot of factors that go into value. If there's a ton of aftermarket support, but it's $50 more out of the box or whatever. I'm just making numbers up here. This isn't to anything. But if you spend a little bit more, but there are more options for you later on down the road, and you want to change or modify or whatever, then that's money well spent in my mind. Most importantly is cost per use. And you want to make sure that anything you're buying is going to get a lot of use, so that dollar value per use goes down. Like when my wife and I bought our spin bike, we were like, we only have to do 800 classes to pay off this bike. Instead of going to a spin class, at a gym or whatever, right, we can pay off in 800 classes faster than we could if we went out and did it somewhere else. So, it's all like, if you get a lot of use out of your truck and a lot of value in terms of your enjoyment and hours spent with it, then, it shouldn't matter how much it costs at the beginning. I don't know. This is a real weird tangent, and I've kind of gone off the rails probably a little bit, but
you're all right.
I think I don't want to see trucks that are cheaper but don't have the support later on. I want to see good support and good brands. Like, I think there's a lot of companies that are doing it very well, and I hope that that continues. I don't want to see a race to the bottom. That is not going to be good for anybody. It's going to kill the hobby.
Gotcha.
A race to the bottom, anybody needs to know what that is. It's where you're constantly competing on price to the point that you're basically giving it away.
Yeah, and I understand that. And I kind of agree. Making it all about price, probably not in the best interest of what's going on. I mean, I do have the pack kit. I am going to build a truck on it. Like, I think that the Red Cat deserves a fair shake to try it out and really see what's going on. I've always been pro axial all the way. Everything I have is that, but like my comp truck at this stage is all aftermarket. My Class 2 comp truck has maybe 2 or 3 like stock axial parts on it, maybe. Everything else was bought from mom and pop shops, like guys just cranking stuff out in their garages and their basements and putting in the time and the knowledge and the effort, or was handmade by myself because that's what I wanted. And so I kind of got to the point where I realized like my axial truck maybe isn't axial. Like it is, but it isn't. And so I just wanted to try something. This one seemed.
Hey, nothing wrong. I got nothing against the Red Cat. I actually think it's a really great truck for what you get out of the box. It's tremendously good value. And yeah, I'm not disparaging that truck at all. I think there's shortcomings, but there are shortcomings in nearly everything. So, it's all about balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we're kind of drawing to the end of the whole interview thing here. I haven't seen a ton of questions coming from the comments. Guys, I'm going to ask my inaugural end of the interview question of what should we expect to see next from Matt. If you have more questions, now's the time to ask them, and I can kind of maybe squeeze them in before we're done. But other than that, we're headed to the end here.
I've got a few projects on the go. There's going to be new Monthly Mayhem. There's going to be a new budget build-off coming as well. There's that weird project that I'm doing. You know what I'll say? And this is the only. It's probably a big hint that it'll probably give it away, but Tesla. That's all I'm going to say about the next project.
All right.
Whether that be the car company or the man, we don't know.
You're gonna build a man? This is.
I'm building a man.
Listen, you said you were gonna one up yourself. That's definitely one upping yourself.
Billy, have you seen Weird Science? Building people now. I've got this thing going on, and I've got a Comanche body that I'm going to put on my VS410. I think that's going to be a fun one. I'm going to ruin the performance of that truck by putting a giant hard body on it.
There you go. That's what the truck was built for.
I think so. Yeah. I got to weather up the PG, or is it the P? Yeah, I got to weather up that PG 801. It's sitting up there. That's why I was looking up. Yeah, I think I might race in the. There's another ultra race coming at By the Fire. I might do that too. I'm a glutton for punishment. I finished 13th last year, and that was with a broken front link. So I literally had to hobble the truck home. Richard finished 7th, and I was right behind him the whole way. So
nice.
Do that again too. Yeah. So lots going on.
Okay, I got like a couple of questions that I can sneak in. I have what are you bringing to Proline By the Fire? Thank you, Ben Morin.
Ben, I'm gonna bring. I guess you know what. It's not what I'm bringing; it's what I'm shipping. Because I always try to travel as light as possible, so I ship all my trucks in advance. I'm gonna ship my bomber for the. I shipped my bomber. Ship my bomber to that for the ultra race. The thing that I'm doing for Monthly Mayhem with Josh will be there, and then I gotta figure out one more truck because I want to have a trail truck. So I don't know yet. I don't know. Got some choices. I've got a couple of choices, one or two.
Yeah, there's a couple trucks sitting around.
Maybe I'll just take. I'll just take this. I'll just take this guy. I think.
I think that'll do it. Um, I
Ooh,
I I see some very big advantages. Uh,
put it in my pocket.
Narrow track width. But I see some big hangups too. Um,
This grasshopper, maybe.
yeah, that too.
I don't know. I have to think about it. It'd be something fun.
All right. I have a question that says, "Build off on the Scale Builders Guild this year?" Question mark.
Oh, yeah, we should probably do another one of those. Just very quickly, one of the sort of the fun things on the SBG is we do all these build offs, and they're usually like a monthly, usually like 6 or 7 months, maybe 9 months, and we pick a theme, and then we just kind of put it out there. We get some sponsors who donate some prizes, and then we get those sponsors who donated the prizes to judge all the trucks on a set of parameters. And we've done all kinds of stuff. We did what was one, forgotten 4x4s. So if it was a 4x4 vehicle but not a very popular one or even good in real life, we did one of those. There were some bonkers weirdo trucks that came out of that one. We did,
Those are my favorite, man. I love the
uh,
weird ones that you've never heard of.
yeah. There's I have to go back and look at in the competition section here and see what else we've done. There's been some goofball ones, that's for sure. Where is that section? I've deleted it. No, it's gone forever. Contests. Here we go. Oh, we did a military build off. That was fun. So there were all kinds of there was an 8x8 in there. There was and these are all, they had to be based on a real truck, and I think that's the cool part. There's a guy who did an amphibious Land Rover
That's
that
pretty
actually floated around and had I think it had a propeller on it too. So that's pretty cool. There was a pattern truck, which is from the Second World War. All kinds of great stuff. Richard built that Jeep thing, that weird hospital van
Yeah, yeah.
thing, out of wood, of course. A couple of Unimogs were in there. It was a fun build off, and the great thing about these is that it's really up to you to continue to compete. So it's a good one for sure. There was a Jeep build off where everyone had to build a Jeep. I think Richard even built a Jeep for that one, which is really off the wall for him.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen that guy build a single. Oh.
He has built Jeeps. He's built two that I know of for sure. Three, but he hates it.
Yeah.
But
All
yes, we'll do another one. Thanks for the reminder, whoever that was.
right. It was. Hold on, I'll find it. Craig Thompson. Thank you to Craig Thompson.
Yes, Skin and Bones.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. I know people by their real name and their screen name.
Everybody has an alias. Oh,
Yep,
Matt.
that guy.
Yes, he's that guy.
Hey, are
So
you that guy?
yes, he is. Anyway, I'll let you go, man. Thank you for doing the interview. I appreciate it. I like I said, I think that the second go round has been more fun for me. Both the ones I've done the second time. Um, doesn't feel awkward or like I'm just reading questions to you guys anymore. It's like I know you, and I can kind of dig a little deeper, have a little bit more meaningful conversation. I think so.
That's the beauty of getting to know somebody, is that all this
Yes,
stuff's come naturally.
absolutely. So you don't have to go for real, but you got to go for a second so I can close out the show. Um, so with that being said, thank you for being on. I genuinely appreciate it. And I'm going to talk to these guys for a little bit and kind of close things out. So
My absolute pleasure. Thanks very much, Adam. I love what you're doing, and I hope that you continue doing it because it is really great.
thanks, man. I have no desire to stop in the near future. And hopefully you'll just keep going and climbing and increasing and getting better. So that's the goal.
Definitely. Thanks
All right.
again.
All right, man. Thank you. All right, guys, so that kind of sums it up and ends things here for this evening's interview. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please do so, and that alert bell. I've been interviewing people like crazy. I'm shooting for one a week this year. So that's 52 interviews over the course of this year. So far, I'm on track to hit that mark, but really, let's be honest, who knows? It's a lot of interviews. I can't lie. Anyway, back to the important things. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. If it wasn't for all of you guys tuning in, then this show would be for nothing, and I probably wouldn't be doing it if I didn't have anybody who was. I genuinely appreciate all of you. As always, thank you for tuning in, and if it wasn't for all of you, it would just be me talking to a camera in my basement, and literally no one wants to watch that, so thank you for all being awesome and doing all that you do. Catch you guys all next week on another live at 9:45.